Hello, and welcome to the program Face to Face. Man is a memory. You are nothing but your past. These are the words of my guest today, Uppaluri Gopal Krishnamurti, better known as UG, one of India's most enigmatic thinkers. UG claims he has no message for mankind, no answers to fundamental questions. He is the anti-guru who offers no hope, no peace, yet he attracts followers the world over. UG is an enigmatic puzzle. His story has no finale. On July the 9th, 1967, in Sarnen, Switzerland, on his 49th birthday, UG Krishnamurti died physically. What brought about his death? What brought him back to life? These are questions that only UG, in his inimitable way, can answer. Hello, UG.
You have put me in a very delicate situation. And before I say anything, I would like to say something very clearly, that when you are saying something, what actually goes on here is like a tape recorder. It is just recording everything that you are saying. There is nobody there who is translating. That is how the physical body functions. There is a talker there who is talking, and you think there is a listener there who is listening all the time. But here, there is no talker and there is no listener here.
Are you referring to your death?
No, I'll come to that, you see. So, my basic question for decades and decades was this: is there a mind there? Is there a center there? Is there a self there? Is there anything called I there? And I searched for that, studied, and lived with the spiritual teachers, but nobody helped me. I did everything possible to find out an answer for this basic question: is there anything there at all? Is there a mind? I studied psychology, and I got no answers from the psychologists either. I rejected psychology, I rejected religious thinking, I rejected everything, but yet I found no answer for this question.
Can I ask you to repeat the question that you were looking to find an answer for? Is there a mind?
Is there a mind? Is there a self there? Is there a psyche? Is there a center? Is there anything there at all? And nobody helped me to find an answer for that question.
So have you found an answer?
I don't think I found an answer for that question at all. For years and years, I wanted to be an enlightened man, because that was the environment in which I was brought up. And yet I found that the claimants to that enlightenment, or whatever they called it, didn't give any satisfactory answers to me. And then, because of that demand to be an enlightened man, what I found myself there in, I am not an enlightened person.
You say you're not enlightened.
No. You see, the question of enlightenment does not arise anymore, because I know for certain that there is no such thing as enlightenment at all. This was the thing that really hit me so hard when, as you mentioned, on my 49th birthday, I sat under a tree and said to myself, what you have wanted all your life, you are already there in that state, you are an enlightened man. And then naturally a question arose, demanding an answer: how the hell do you know that you are an enlightened man? Until yesterday you were telling yourself that you want to be an enlightened man, and now you think that you are an enlightened man, and you are no different from all those enlightened people. So the question that propped up there inside of me how the hell do you know that you are an enlightened man? So the same knowledge that I had before, which told me, now you are not an enlightened man, and this is the way an enlightened man functions in this world. And today you tell yourself that you are an enlightened man. The question whirled there inside of me, and suddenly the question stopped there. So the interest whether to find out I am an enlightened man or enlightened man disappeared totally. And what was left after that is something which I really don't know. People ask me the question, you are not an enlightened man, you are not a guru, you are not a transferred man, you are not this, that and the other. Who the hell are you? My answer to that question is, I wish I knew. Because there is no way I can tell myself this is me. So that is true of you also there. Because you want to be something other than what you are. The ouughtness, the shouldness, the mustness is all that creates what you call you there. Quite the opposite of what you would like to be, what you should be, what you ought to be, and what you must be.
But I mean, on whose standards do you say that?
What
By whose standards do you say that I want to be something that I'm not?
Because what you see there is quite the opposite of what you would like to be.
But isn't a lot of life about a perception of things?
You see, I don't want to use these philosophical terms, perception, pure perception. There is no perception there without a perceiver. The perceiver is you, created by your culture, society, or whatever you want to call, which is born out of the knowledge you have of yourself and what you should be like and what you must be. I don't know if it makes any sense to you.
It's a little difficult to follow, actually. Yuji, tell us something about your basic teachings. I mean, when people come to you and they want to know answers and things, what do you tell them?
I tell them, get lost and stay lost.
So why do they follow you then?
You should ask them, why the hell do they come? They keep coming day after day, month after month, year after year.
Is it because they just enjoy the fact that you destroy every single normal concept that people have in this world?
They still think that I'm saying the same things in a different way. I belong to different times, but basically I'm saying what the great teachers said before. And there were two pontiffs visited me once in India. Pontiffs, real pontiffs. The Indian pontiffs, not the Christian pontiffs. Somebody said Yuji is a universal God. The other fellow said he's a useless guy. Because we get nothing from him. What he's saying cannot be translated into any framework that we have known so far. But yet we have this problem. The problem is that we cannot brush him aside and say that what he's saying is absolutely nonsense. But even those psychiatrists who come to see me, the psychologists, the scientists who come to see me out of their curiosity, they assure me that what you are saying seems to be very true, but we want to believe that you are wrong.
So what are you saying then?
What I am saying is what you are saying. I am not saying anything. Let us not turn this into a mystifying thing. This computer, I would like to stick to this analogy or simile of a computer here. This is just a computer. And whatever is there is what is put in by the culture.
You're talking about a human being?
A human being. That
body.
applies to you and to me here too. So when you are asking the questions, the answers that are coming out of me are not my answers. I give you the example of a computer, the word tank which I have. You put in 20, 30, 40, 50 names there and the telephone numbers at random. And you want to find out a particular name and a particular telephone number. You press the button, they come in the alphabetical order. So you press the button again and ask a question, it says it's searching. So actually it is not searching anything. Your thinking also is exactly the same process that is going on there, because there is nobody who is thinking. But you think that there is a thinker just the way it is searching. And comes out
you're saying
answer.
that the answers that we come out with are part of our social conditioning and our upbringing, but it's not really your own thought that is coming out.
Nothing. There is no thought which I can call my own. There is no experience which I can call my own. There is no feeling which I can call my own. But we are interested in separating these feelings and putting them on a higher level than just the intellectual thoughts. But there is no way you can experience a feeling unless you give a name to it and call it you are happy, you are unhappy, you are bored, you are not bored.
What are your views on happiness, Eugene? Do you think that we can be happy, human beings can be happy in this world?
It is just impossible to be happy always. Let me tell you one thing. I have been everywhere in the world. I have seen people, and the one thing that people are really interested in anywhere, everywhere, whether they are Americans or Russians or Chinese or Indians, the one thing that they are interested in is how to be happy always without one moment of unhappiness. How to have pleasure without pain at all. It is just impossible because this living organism does not know what happiness is like. It is not interested in keeping that sensation of happiness longer than the natural duration of its life. So it is a very painful thing it is throwing out. And so that is why you are unhappy. That is why you are painful.
I don't agree with you there. I think we do know very well what happiness is. I mean, happiness is something that makes you have good feelings.
But it is all right. You can have good feelings. You can feel happy. But the demand to keep that lasting forever is really the problem. That is not what is impossible.
It is impossible, but we may still aspire to it because it makes us feel good.
Yeah, but you feel good. It is a feeling good. That's all that is there, and you are left with the hope that one day, through some miracle or through the help of somebody, you will be able to stay happy forever and ever.
You actually grew up in a very religious sort of family background. You come from a Brahmin family.
Yes.
So do you believe in religion today?
No. The religion is responsible for the man's tragedy. It is not that I am anti-religious or any such thing, but religion has not helped us to be what we are. The problem with religion is that it has created a model and placed before us that that's the way we should all be. And that model, unfortunately, happens to be the model of all the great spiritual teachers from time immemorial. What we are doing all the time is to fit ourselves into that model and become that model. And it is that is responsible for the man's tragedy. We may have, and as some people have succeeded in freeing themselves from the religious stranglehold, but yet we are caught up in the same ethical codes of conduct, the legal structure we are operating in is no different from the religious conditioning of the human being.
Yes, but if you don't have those kind of parameters in society, then what you're talking about is just total anarchy, everybody doing what they want.
There is, in spite of all that anarchy today here, in spite of all the attempts that we are making to keep that a going thing, we have not succeeded. Tomorrow we are going to succeed, and we live in that hope and die in that hope.
Well, yes, I'm not saying that we have achieved the ideal, but surely there has to be an ideal that you work towards, because otherwise man is a very selfish person. Everyone would just live for themselves.
The hope
and we would just be living in a glorified jungle.
No, this is already a jungle. What is there for us to be proud of? You think this is not a jungle?
Well, you've obviously sort of disassociated yourself
I have not dissociated
from
myself.
the world.
No, not at all. Not at all. I am not in conflict with this world, because the world cannot be any different. The dream of creating a paradise on this planet or a heaven on this planet is the one that is responsible for creating hell on this planet.
So how would you like to see society?
I do not want the society to be any different, because I am not in conflict with that society.
Mm-hmm.
So you seem to be in conflict with the society because you are in conflict with yourself. Why there is that conflict in you is because the idea that you should fit yourself into that value system created by that society, and so you are fighting all the time, struggling, and using tremendous energy to fit yourself into that framework. You have so far not succeeded, and so, as I always say, you live in hope and die in hope.
So do I understand then that you're telling me I should be doing and living exactly the way I like without worrying about what society dictates to me.
Not for a moment. I am not saying that at all. There is nothing more than what you are doing. There is nothing else you can do. I don't know if it makes any sense. Obviously not.
It's a little difficult
Let us
to
put it
understand,
on a
I must
different-
admit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have such controversial ideas, yet people keep coming to you to ask you, your views on things. How does it feel? Does it give you a kind of power?
No. It doesn't give me any power, you see. I only want to tell them that no useful purpose will be served by carrying on any conversation with me. And yet they come day after day, and they hang around me, hoping one day to understand. I am telling them all the time, there is nothing to understand here.
So then why do you, for example, accept coming on a television program like this? I mean, what is your objective in doing a program like this if you say you've got nothing to say?
No, there is a motive here. And there is no such thing as a motiveless action at all. Since you invited me, I accepted this invitation to appear on your face-to-face and use you as a medium to express whatever I want to express. And what I have found for myself and by myself is something extraordinary. And that has freed from the totality of everything everybody thought, felt, and experienced before me. As I said a while ago, so what you are left with is something which you will never know. You will never be able to give expression to it. So whatever has happened to me is not in the field of the experiencing structure. So there is no way I can share this with anybody. All I tell the people who come to see me is a very simple thing. You don't need those crutches. Throw those crutches away. You can walk. That certainty I have, I can assure you and reassure you all the time, you don't need crutches at all. Please, for goodness sake, throw those crutches away. But don't ask me to replace them with another set of crutches or go in for some sophisticated kind of crutches. Even if you fall, I know that you will rise and continue to walk.
Is there any one culture or community that you have seen have come closest to the ideal that you would like to see?
It all depends upon what exactly you mean by culture and how you define culture. When I use the word culture, I say that it is your way of living and your way of thinking.
Or is there any one people that you think have come closest to the ideal of the way you'd like to see people live?
No, I don't want anybody to be anything different than what actually they are. I am perfectly satisfied with the world exactly the way it is because it cannot be any different. So I know very well that there is nothing that I can do as an individual. Collective action means what? My way and your way. And your way is all that you are interested in, or my way is all that I am interested in. There is no such thing as our way at all. And when people come with their personal problems, I tell them there is no such thing as our way in the relationship between, let's say, husband and wife, and the girlfriend and the boyfriend. There is no such thing as our way, either your way or his way. But you have to have certain compromises and make it a go of your living for whatever reason you are trying to live.
Do you believe
Don't try to create our way. Sorry,
I was going to ask you, do you believe in marriage? Do you believe in relationships?
Marriage is an outdated institution, but it is not so easy to do away with the institution of marriage. It is not the marriage that is really the problem in relationships between a man and a woman, the possessiveness. That's the most important thing. You can possess property, you can possess ideas, you can possess tremendous amount of knowledge. You cannot possess a living being at all. And so, I always tell people, you are a very beautiful woman. And somebody makes a pass at you, sorry to be personal like this. And if your husband does not kill that fellow, something wrong with him, he's a sick man. That's a very natural thing. Don't teach them to practice non-jealousy at all. So that is a very natural thing. So the possessiveness is the most important thing. I possess my wife. That is why if somebody makes a pass at it, if a beautiful woman, if she is very attractive, what's wrong with others getting attracted to that, making passes with it? It is for her to make anything out of that. Deal with the problem.
But I mean, there was a sort of practical reason for this concept. Because otherwise...
it is just like any other property. You have a house, and then you have a wife, you have a husband. That's all that we are interested in. But you are not going to do away with the institution of marriage at all. Somewhere along the line, so the question pops up, are you going to marry me? I have known a lot of unwed couples in my life. They come to see me. Unwed couples are more miserable than married couples. Not only that, there are so many things are involved. The marriage institution is disgusting only in one sense, because it is like any other possessive element in our lives. It's a contract, you see. So it has lost all its charm there. It is not such an easy thing to create relationships on any other basis. The possessiveness is the most important factor in keeping these institutions going.
Have you ever been married, Gigi?
Yeah, I was married and had 4 children. But my wife died almost 33 years ago.
Do you think, was it a fulfilling marriage?
No, we had this basic problem. I always told her, long before this Tina Turner song, What Love Has Got to Do, became so popular, what love has got to do with our relationship. She didn't like that at all. The love does not play any role in relationships at all. When we find that it is not a satisfactory relationship, we want to reassure ourselves and reassure everybody that I love you, darling. Why the hell do you have to say, reassure yourself and reassure others, because the relationships are falling apart.
But don't you
It is not the contract of marriage that is the most important thing. The difficulty of living together is the basic problem. The real problem is that you should live like this. You see, it must be an ideal, perfect, happy marriage.
Do you believe in love?
Love? You're asking me a very delicate question. My answer is love is nothing but a 4-lettered word.
Have you ever been in love? Have you ever felt anything more than just the 4-letter word?
I was infatuated with my wife for the first 6 months of my marriage. And then I realized that it was just a drag.
You've never felt more than that for any human being?
No, the moment you introduce the element of love, you are creating a division there. And all your life you are trying to create a loving relationship, and a constant amount of energy is put into that, and it just is an idea that we have.
No, I disagree with you, Yuji. I mean, I have experienced emotions of good feeling towards another human being where I wasn't imposing my own selfish desires. I mean, love is a state of mind where you want to do something for the other person.
Why do you have to call it love?
It's a name. I mean, we have to use to use a vocabulary, a language.
It is not just a name. It's not just a word. You see, the image that is there around that word, that is questionable to me.
Do you think that it's possible to love one human being throughout your life?
If you stop loving yourself, then it is possible to love others also. Not in the sense in which you are using the word. I would never say I love anybody. So love and hate go together. See, if you use love as the lost card in the pack, then things go wrong. And when that fails, what you are left with is hate. You may not use that word hate, but indifference to the relationship creeps into the picture, and it is not the same. So you have to reassure yourself.
So you think that's perfectly natural?
Perfectly natural?
For love and hate to be so...
You see, the problem there is we are not looking at the real issue there. The living together is not an easy thing at all. The moment you introduce the element of how to live, a perfect, harmonious relationship, you have created a problem there. Then only it will be possible for you to look at this and deal with this. Why there is this disharmony? Why should we bother about creating a loving, harmonious relationship?
But then how does society function? I mean, are you advocating that everybody lives independent?
You are living an isolated life of your own. You are not in harmony with the society at all. We are using the society only for some purposes for which it is not intended. So then only, if you are not caught up, you see, I want to use that word, between right and wrong, good and bad. You cannot do anything wrong, you cannot do anything bad. As long as you are caught up in these two, you will always do something wrong, because you are only interested in doing the right thing and good thing all your life. And the fight that is going on between the two is exhausting you. You are losing tremendous amount of energy, and that is all that we are.
So then what is the answer? What should you be doing? You should be doing what you want to do above everything else?
What you have...
Or what you feel instinctively feel that you should be doing?
You don't have anything calling your own. You don't have anything. What we are asked to do, we are doing. What we are made to believe, we are doing. So you are not doing anything what you want to do. You will be surprised when you are freed from what you should do, what you must not do, what you ought to do, and all that is thrown out of your system. You will do things in a very natural way.